Hare Krishna Mataji, then with Pranam.
Pranam, Mataji.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome you to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for All session. We are reading. Today is April 12th, 2026, and we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 8. Lord Krishna shows the universal form in his mouth to his mother. And in this chapter, there are different sections. We completed the pastime of the Lord's name-giving ceremony performed by Gargamuni. And also recently we completed the Lord's crawling pastimes called Ringar Leela. So a quick recap of this pastime. In a very short time, Krishna and Balarāma began to move around, and they were moving with the help of their knees and hands, crawling. And this was their pastime. That means they enjoyed doing this. They would go around in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. And how would they crawl? They would drag both their feet and move in a way like the serpents move, like reptiles move, slithering, yes, slithering. And also they had these bells on their ankles, ankle bells, and also on their waist. So these sounds, the ringing of the bells sounded very nice. And they would be crawling in the dirt of Vraja. And this dirt was moistened by cow urine and cow milk. And while they were crawling like this, hearing the sound of the bells, they would become so pleased, so happy. And they would just keep crawling around because their crawling made this sound. They didn't know where the sound was coming from, but by their crawling, because they were able to hear, they would just keep crawling in the courtyard. And also they would follow any ladies or men walking on the street, thinking that they were Yashodamaya and Rohini. And as soon as they would turn around, they would realize, oh, this is not my mother or not my father. And they would appear to be really fearful, turn around and quickly go back to their mothers. We also saw that Mother Rohini and Mother Yashoda had so much affection for their sons that their breasts would always be filled with milk, and milk would be dripping from their breasts out of affection for their sons. And when they would see Krishna and Balarāma covered with dirt, they would just, and they would think, they would see, to them, they looked even more beautiful now being covered by dirt, as if anointed with some cosmetics or something. They would pick up the boys. So each mother would pick up her boy with both her arms and then offer her breast milk. And while the baby is drinking milk, the mother would be gazing at the face and observing the face of the child. And the boys would be so happy to drink milk that they would be smiling while drinking milk. And when they smiled, the mothers, through the mouths, they saw small teeth coming in, like 2 teeth coming in, and they would become very happy. They would enjoy that transcendental bliss. And who would witness these crawling pastimes of Krishna and Balarāma? The ladies in the house. They would be witnessing these Kumara-lila, crawling pastimes of the boys. And also the calves, some calves, vatsa, would stay. So what did we see? That while crawling in the courtyard, they would go and catch the tail of a calf that is sitting down peacefully. And the calf would get scared, get up and start running. And the boys would get scared and they would just hold on to the tail even more tightly out of fear. And they would just get dragged through the dirt. And all the ladies, they would just give up their household duties and just be practically all day, they would just be looking at the pastimes of Krishna Balarāma in the courtyard. And they would relish these pastimes so much, they would enjoy it so much that they would be laughing loudly while seeing Krishna and Balarāma's pastimes in the courtyard, like this one, where they're dragged around by the calf. And then Mother Yashoda and Mother Rohini's condition was, they would be in so much anxiety all day long, trying to protect their boys from dangers, because the boys were so restless. Not for one moment would they be peaceful. That means they would be just sitting peacefully in one place. They would go to horned animals like the bulls and cows, or they would go and try to catch fire, or go and try to play with animals with teeth like cats, dogs, and monkeys, or they would go and play with knives and swords and other weapons that are kept in the courtyard, or they would go and jump into water tubs, some small water bodies that are there in the courtyard, and they would go and play with big birds, or the mothers are afraid that they would, prick themselves with thorns. They would just go into thorns. So constantly, the mothers were trying to stop the Krishna and Balarāma from these dangers. And because of this, they could not do any of their household duties. They would be in so much anxiety for the safety of Krishna and Balarāma, like this. But this anxiety is also transcendental. This is the ecstasy. So now, after that Leela, the next Leela is Krishna and Balarāma's Leela of stealing. So let's read. I will hold a short class today because we started late. So I'll just maybe cover 1 or 2 shlokas. Kālenālpena rājarṣe Rāmaḥ Kṛṣṇasya gokule aghṛṣṭa-jānubhiḥ padbhir vicakramatur añjasā kālenālpena rājarṣe Rāmaḥ Kṛṣṇasya gokule aghṛṣṭa-jānubhiḥ padbhir vicakramatur añjasā kālenālpena. Again, in the previous episode also we saw, in a very short time they started crawling. Now it is said, in a very short time, rājarṣe, O King Parīkṣit Maharaj, Rāmaḥ Kṛṣṇasya gokule, Rāma and Kṛṣṇa, Balarāma and Kṛṣṇa in Gokula, aghṛṣṭa-jānubhiḥ. That means, grishta means dragging, Janubhi means knees. So without dragging their knees, that means without crawling. Aghṛṣṭa, without dragging Janubhi, their knees. Instead, padbhir, using their feet. Vicakramatur, began to walk. Añjasā, very easily. So, in a very short time, Krishna and Balarāma stopped crawling. That means now they started moving on their feet, walking on their feet very easily. That means they grew up very soon, right? From crawling to walking. And actually, once they started walking like this, that's when they also started going to the homes of the gopis to steal butter, like that. So, Krishna would simultaneously go to every home in Vraja, and he would go and eat butter in all the homes. And the gopis also actually wanted Krishna to come. They were very fond of Krishna's coming to their house, and they wanted him to eat their butter. So they would make and they would wait for Krishna to come. They actually wanted him to come and come to their house, play in their house, and eat like that. kālenālpena rājarṣe Rāmaḥ Kṛṣṇasya gokule aghṛṣṭa-jānubhiḥ padbhir vicakramatur añjasā. O King Parīkṣit, within a very short time, both Rama and Krishna began to walk very easily in Gokula on their legs, by their own strength, without the need to crawl. Purport. Instead of crawling with their knees, the babies could now stand up by holding on to something and walk little by little without difficulty by the strength of their legs. So just the way we see babies in this material world also, when they start walking, first they pick themselves up, holding on to something, and then holding that, they'll start walking slowly, and then eventually they'll become independent in walking. So Krishna Balarāma also did like that. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, without scraping their knees on the ground, aghṛṣṭa-jānubhiḥ, that means without, using their knees, like without crawling, Krishna and Balarāma effortlessly, añjasā, began walking about in Gokula. The word añjasā is sometimes substituted with the word aghṛṣṭa, which means boldly. So añjasā means very easily, but sometimes instead of añjasā, aghṛṣṭa is used. That means boldly. So they started walking boldly, which means Krishna and Balarāma stopped crawling and started walking boldly around Gokula. Okay. Next verse. tatas bhagavān kṛṣṇo vayasyair vraja-bālakaiḥ saha-rāmo vraja-strīṇāṁ cikrīḍe janayan mudam tatas bhagavān kṛṣṇo. So now they are walking, yes, and they are walking freely, like independently. They are able to walk here and there. Thereafter, that means after they started walking, Bhagavān Kṛṣṇo, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, vayasyair vraja-bālakaiḥ. So vayasyair means their same aged boys, vraja-bālaka. The other boys of Vraja, their age. Vayasyair vraja-bālakaiḥ saha-rāmo means along with Lord Balarāma. So Krishna with other boys his age in Vraja, other boys means other cowherd boys of Vraja, of his age, along with Lord Balarāma, vraja-strīṇāṁ, the ladies of Vraja, gopis, cikrīḍe janayan mudam. Cikrīḍe, krīḍa means play. So he played very happily. Janayan mudam, producing transcendental pleasure in the Vraja Stris. Yes? That means thereafter, once they started walking, Lord Krishna, along with the other cowherd boys of his age and Lord Balarāma, gave or produced transcendental bliss in the gopis, Vraja Stris, the older gopis, by their activities, by their playful activities. Thereafter, Lord Krishna, along with Balarāma, began to play with the other children of the cowherd men, thus awakening the transcendental bliss of the cowherd women. Purport. The word saha-rāmo means along with Balarāma is significant in this verse. In such transcendental pastimes, Krishna is the chief hero and Balarāma provides additional help. So, in these pastimes performed by Krishna with other cowherd boys, the main hero is Krishna and Balarāma is providing additional support. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, in the pastimes of stealing butter, Krishna was the predominant figure. Therefore, in this verse, Krishna is described as saha-rāmo along with Balarāma. That means mainly Krishna is the player in stealing the butter, but Balarāma would support him like that. kṛṣṇasya gopyo ruciraṁ viksha kaumāra-cāpalam śriṇvantyāh kila tan-mātur iti hochuh samāgataha. kṛṣṇasya means of Krishna, gopyo ruciraṁ. So he was very attractive to all the gopis. Viksha means seeing. Viksha. Kaumāra-cāpalam, their childhood pastimes, or Chapalam means like restlessness, right? Earlier also we saw Krishna and Balarāma would be so restless, chanchal. Chapalam means chanchal, right? Restless, constantly doing something or the other. So the gopis found the restless childhood pastimes of Krishna. They would see them. And śriṇvantyāh kila tan-mātur iti hochu samāgataha. And then these So what are these childhood pastimes? The restless pastimes of Krishna means of stealing butter. This is the pastime we are reading now, Krishna stealing butter. So the gopis would be, very attracted to Krishna's pastimes, the restless pastimes, and wanting to enjoy it even more, and just to hear about his pastimes again and again, they would actually go to Yashoda Mai and complain about him. The fact was they wanted Krishna to come to their house. They would make butter so that Krishna would come and steal in their house. And then after Krishna would come and eat and go, then they would all come and assemble in front of Yashoda Mai and complain to her that he came and stole butter from their house. Why did they do that? Because they relished it so much, they wanted to hear that again and again and enjoy it. Observing the very attractive childish restlessness of Krishna, all the gopis in the neighborhood, to hear about Krishna's activities again and again, would approach Mother Yashoda and speak to her as follows. So why they are complaining? Because they would enjoy these pastimes, hearing these pastimes of Krishna. So in the way of complaining, they're actually narrating what all Krishna did. And by that, they're relishing it again and again, speaking and hearing about Krishna's wonderful activities. Always very attractive to devotees. Krishna's activities are always very attractive to devotees. Therefore, the neighbors who were friends of Mother Yashoda informed Mother Yashoda of whatever they saw Krishna doing in the neighborhood. So they would come and say, your son did this, your son did that. So whatever they saw Krishna doing in the neighborhood, they would come and tell Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda, just to hear about the activities of her son, stopped her household duties and enjoyed the information given by the neighborhood friends. So she would also relish. She would just stop all her household duties and just listen to Krishna's activities. She enjoyed the information given by the neighborhood friends. So, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that seeing the naughty pastimes of Krishna and enjoying, ruciraṁ means enjoying, the gopis, then so they would be enjoying these naughty pastimes of Krishna very much. The gopis in the neighborhood would approach Yashoda and tell her what they saw. When they would gather in Yashoda's house, Yashoda would stop her many household chores and listen to the activities of her child. On the pretext of reprimanding her for not controlling her restless son, the gopis would give great joy to Mother Yashoda. So, it would appear like they are complaining to Yashoda Mai and saying, how she's not controlling him properly, how he's creating so much, mischief. So by way of correcting Yashoda Mai for not, controlling Krishna, they would actually give great pleasure to Yashoda Mai by telling her about all the activities, mischievous activities of Krishna. So we can stop Srimad Bhagavatam reading here today, and we'll continue tomorrow. I will read Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We are reading from the 13th chapter, text 34 today. Yesterday we did 33. So yesterday we were reading that Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyad akasham nopalipyate sarvatravastito dehe tathatma nopalipyate. So the way the sky is subtle and it is all pervading, but it doesn't mix with anything. Similarly, if you take it as the living entity is so subtle that even though the living entity is present in this body and its consciousness is spread throughout the body, it doesn't mix with the body. And also you can take it as Paramatma. Paramatma is present in this body, but he doesn't mix with this body. He doesn't get entangled. He doesn't get abhimana that this is my body and, he wants to enjoy. That's not. Nopalipyate is not entangling. Sarvatravastito dehe tathatma nopalipyate. So he is situated in that body, right? Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body. So we discussed that yesterday. I can just go over one more time, just to help you recollect what we read yesterday. So we were reading about Paramatma in the previous verse. That even though Paramatma is present in the body, he's not the doer. The way the Jivatma is not the doer, Paramatma is also not the doer. And he has no asakti. It's Prakriti who's doing everything. That was said in the previous verse. Then in yesterday's verse, we read that Paramatma is also present in every being, right? Sarvavastha means he's sarvatra vastito dehe, he said, right? So he's present in every body. Tathatma nopalipyate. But he doesn't get entangled because he has no asakti. He has no asakti. He has no attachment to the body or to anything else. He's present in all bodies. Then text 34. We have to see text 34 today. Yatha prakāṣayatyekah kṛṣṇam lokam imam ravihi kshetram kshetri tatha kṛṣṇam prakāṣayati bharata. Another analogy is being given. Yatha prakāṣayati ekah kṛṣṇam lokam imam ravihi. That means this whole world is illuminated by the sun. Lokam imam ravihi. Yatha prakāṣayatyekah kṛṣṇam, right? Lokam imam ravihi. The way this whole world is illuminated by the sun. Kshetram kshetri tatha kṛṣṇam prakāṣayati bharata. In the same way, the kshetri, who is the kshetri? The one who is living in this body, is illuminating this whole body. The way the sun is illuminating this whole world, all the objects in this whole world, in the same way, the kshetri who is living in this body is illuminating the whole body. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. How is the living entity? How is the living entity illuminating the whole body? By consciousness, it is said. Yeah, by consciousness, the living entity is illuminating. But also you can understand it in terms of, actually this verse is talking about Paramatma. The way the sun illuminates all objects, but still it will not get the qualities of the objects. The sun remains unaffected. The objects are illuminated by the sun, but the sun itself is not acquiring the dharma of the objects that it is illuminating. You understand? It doesn't mix with the objects. It illuminates the objects, but it does not mix with them. It doesn't get the quality of that object. That's the point. In the same way, Paramatma is there everywhere. The way sun is illuminating the whole world, all the objects. Like that, Paramatma is there everywhere. But the defects of the material objects will not be seen in Paramatma. That means Paramatma is there in the body, he's there in all the objects, he's there everywhere, in every atom he's there. Even though he's there everywhere, the defects of these material objects or material elements will not touch Paramatma, even though Paramatma is there everywhere. How? The way the sunlight is illuminating, that means sunlight touches the objects and then the object is visible. If there is no sunlight, you don't see the objects. Because of sunlight, all the objects are visible. Still, the sun does not become contaminated by the qualities of those objects. In the same way, Paramatma is present everywhere, but Paramatma is not acquiring the defects of the material objects that it is illuminating. In other words, he is untouched. He is untouched by the materialness, by the material defects, even though Paramatma is present in all material objects. So, another thing is the sun is illuminating everything, but the sun has no, see, when there is sunlight, now there's one more point here, okay, another point. When there is sunlight, my eyes are able to see the objects. Without sunlight, my eyes are not able to see. Yes? My eyes are able to see because of sunlight. My eyes are able to see the different objects because of sunlight. But does the sunlight have an attachment to my eyes? Does sunlight become attached to my eyes, which are able to see only because of sunlight? That means my eyes are dependent on sunlight. Because my eyes are dependent on sunlight, does sunlight become attached to my eyes? No, right? Similarly, the objects are illuminated by the sunlight. Because of sunlight, the objects are visible. Does the sunlight become attached to those objects that the eyes are seeing? No. Even though sunlight is illuminating the objects, and even though it's because of sunlight that the eyes are able to see those objects, sunlight has no attachment, either for the eyes or for the objects. In the same way, Paramatma is in everything, and it is because of him only that the Jivatma and the body means it's made of Prakriti. It is because of Paramatma that the Jivatma and Prakriti are able to do different things. We already read Karya Karana Karta. Whatever activity is happening, it is because of Karya Karana Karta. Karya Karana Karta means what? Karya means the sense object. Karana means the senses. Karta means the doer. Who is the doer? The demigod, controlling deity in each sense. So it's because of the combination of these three, so many activities are happening. Without these three, even if one is missing, activities will not happen. All these three are coming from Prakriti, external energy. Okay? Now, all the activities which are done by Prakriti, and Prakriti is not doing independently. And then also there is this material world is a combination of marginal energy, living entity, and external energy. You take any living being. There's a material body and there's a spirit soul. Yes? material body and spirit soul. So, Paramatma is present in everything. And it is because of Paramatma that this living entity and the body are doing various things. Even though the living entity and the Prakriti are dependent on Paramatma, still Paramatma has no attachment to the living entity or Prakriti. Did you get this point? The analogy that is being said in this verse. The analogy is sun. It's because of sunlight, my eyes are able to see the object. Should I draw? Will that help? Or is it clear? If it is clear, then I don't have to draw.
Draw, Mataji.
Draw? Okay. Okay. What people? Okay. 13:34. So here the analogy is sun. Because of the sun, light, there are various objects, trees, then birds, and all the objects are illuminated. And illuminated means who's seeing it? My eyes are seeing it, right? So the living entity is seeing. How is the living entity seeing? Because of sunlight. When there is sunlight, then my eyes are able to see the objects. If there is no sunlight, all these objects, even though they are there, my eyes are not able to see. That means my eyes seeing is dependent on the sun, right? Seeing by the eyes is dependent on the sunlight. And also the object's visibility is dependent on the sunlight. You're understanding? That means these objects can be seen when the sunlight falls on them. If there is no sunlight, they cannot be, the objects won't be seen. One thing. The other thing is, I am a living entity. I have eyes and I am able to see the world. I am able to see all these objects when there is sunlight. That means my eyes can see only when there is light. Without light, my eyes cannot see. My eyes are dependent on sunlight, and these objects can be seen also. The visibility of these objects is also dependent on sunlight. However, sun has no attachment to the eye or the material objects that it illuminates. Sun has no attachment to the objects or to the eye. Sun has no attachment. Now, instead of sun, you have Paramatma. Okay? Paramatma. And then there is Jivatma and Prakriti. Prakriti means the body. Jivatma means the Jivatma, living entity. Without Paramatma, the Jivatma cannot do anything. So, see, this is my body, okay, my body. And here in the heart is the living entity. Jivatma is here. But I can feel when there is a thorn pricking my foot, even though I'm in the heart, I'm able to feel this. How I'm able to feel this? Because my consciousness is spread throughout the body. How is my consciousness spreading throughout the body? Next to Jivatma, Paramatma is also there in the heart. And Paramatma is omniscient, sarvagnata, right? He knows everything, everywhere. In every body he knows, and outside also. In every atom what's going on, he knows. So because of that, his consciousness is spread everywhere. So this Paramatma, whose consciousness is spread everywhere, is carrying the consciousness of the Jivatma throughout the body. So it is because of Paramatma that Jivatma's consciousness is spreading throughout the body. And when you pull a hair on my head, I can feel. And when a thorn is pricked in the foot, I can feel. What that means what? The living entity is dependent on Paramatma. The living entity, Jivatma, is dependent on Paramatma. Okay? Jivatma is dependent. What about Prakriti? Prakriti. So, Prakriti is also dependent. How? Prakriti means in this you have Karya, Karana, and Karta. And these are responsible for all activities. But can Prakriti function without the Lord, without Paramatma? No. You see, Karanodakshaya Vishnu is glancing on Prakriti at every stage. Because his eyes are open, because he is glancing, therefore Prakriti is getting that potency to do activities. Example is like fire and iron rod. Iron rod, which is in fire, acts like fire. So this iron rod is like Prakriti. And fire is Paramatma. So iron rod is heating, red hot iron rod is burning things. But iron rod, how it became red hot? Because of fire. Similarly, Prakriti is doing everything here. Karya, Karana, Karta. Right? Prakriti is doing all activities. But Prakriti on its own cannot do. Because of the energy coming from Paramatma, Prakriti is able to act. So the point here is both Jivatma and Prakriti are able to do whatever they are doing because of Paramatma. They are dependent on Paramatma. What is Paramatma's situation? Even though the Prakriti and Jivatma are dependent on Paramatma, Paramatma has no attachment either for Prakriti or for Jivatma. That is being said in this verse, giving the analogy of the sun. How the sun is not attached to material objects that it is illuminating, nor is the sun attached to the eyes that are seeing these objects because of the sun. Sun has no attachment. In the same way, Paramatma, who is responsible for the activities of Prakriti and the activities of Jivatma, has no attachment for either of them. Okay, clear? So now we will just read the purport and I can end the class here. Yatha prakāṣayatyekaha kṛṣṇam lokam imam ravihi. Just this Ravi, sun is the only cause for illuminating kṛṣṇam lokam, this whole world. In the same way, kshetram kshetri tatha kṛṣṇam, right? This kshetri means Paramatma is responsible for illuminating the whole body. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. As I told you, I am telling you from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. So there it is explained as Paramatma. And in Srila Prabhupada's purport, you see it as living entity. So that can be according to another Acharya's commentary, Baldev Vidibhushan's commentary maybe. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. So you can take either, you can understand it from the living entity's perspective also. There are various theories regarding consciousness. Here in Bhagavad Gita, the example of the sun and the sunshine is given. As the sun is situated in one place but is illuminating the whole universe, so a small particle of spirit soul, although situated in the heart of this body, is illuminating the whole body by consciousness. Thus, consciousness is the proof of the presence of the soul, as sunshine or light is the proof of the presence of the sun. Okay? So, consciousness is the proof of the presence of the soul, the way sunshine is the presence of sun. When the soul is present in the body, there is consciousness all over the body. And as soon as the soul has passed from the body, there is no more consciousness. This can be easily understood by any intelligent man. Therefore, consciousness is not a product of the combinations of matter. So this is the main point. Consciousness is there as long as the soul is there. When there is no soul, there is no consciousness. That means consciousness is coming from the soul, not from the body. It is the symptom of the living entity. Consciousness is the symptom of the living entity. The consciousness of the living entity, although qualitatively one with the supreme consciousness, is not supreme, because the consciousness of one particular body does not share that of another body. That means I will only be conscious of my body. When something pricks my body, I can feel. When something pricks your body, I cannot feel. That means my consciousness is limited to my body. However, Paramatma's consciousness is spread throughout all bodies, everywhere. But the super soul, which is situated in all bodies as the friend of the individual soul, is conscious of all bodies. That is the difference between supreme consciousness and individual consciousness. Okay. So, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. So, you can take as the individual living entity, or you can take as Paramatma. Both explanations are there. So, I will stop here. Thank you very much for joining on Sunday also. We will have Chaitanya Charitamrita class next tomorrow. Thank you very much. You have any questions?
No, Mataji.
No. Okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna,
Grantara.
Mataji.
Yes, Madhuri. Swati.
The same thing repeating again and again. No, Mataji. From
Yeah.
3 to 4 slokas.
Yes. Yes. In
Thank you,
different
Mataji.
ways with different examples, it's being said. Yes.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Vacha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.